8 to 10%. That's what a property manager quietly skims off the top of your rent every single month before you pay for one vacancy or one single repair. Most so-called passive rentals are only passive after all of that comes out. So here's the real question for anyone sitting on a pile of cash. Which way of owning a rental actually stays hands-off once the fees are paid? I dug through turnkey providers, online marketplaces, and co-living platforms to find the honest answer. And in the next 18 minutes, you're getting 5 real ways to own a cash-flowing rental without ever managing it. Starting with the easiest one you could set up this month. One of these 5 quietly out-earns all the rest. We'll get there, I promise. Let me introduce you to Dan. Dan just sold a small business. He's sitting on $53,900. He owns his own home, and he has never owned a single rental in his life. He wants the income, but he does not want the 2 in the morning toilet call. That's the whole reason he's shopping for a hands-off rental in the first place. Quick and honest note before we dig in. Everything here is educational, not legal or financial advice. Real estate rules vary a lot by state, so always check with a licensed pro before you wire a single dollar. Now, here's the one thing that makes Dan different from most first-time buyers. He runs every single option through one simple filter before he lets himself get excited. He calls it the drag test. Every hands-off method carries drag, management drag, fee drag, and vacancy drag. The drag test asks just one honest question. After all of it comes out, does the net yield still stand tall? Keep that test in your head. It's the spine of this whole video. And here's why it matters so much. When people picture passive rental income, they picture the full rent check landing in their account. But that's the gross. And the gross is a fantasy. The real number is what's left after management, vacancy, and repairs. Think of the water heater that dies on a Sunday, plus taxes and insurance every single year. That gap between gross and net is where most first-time landlords get quietly disappointed. Dan refuses to fall for the gross. So with every method below, watch what survives, not what gets advertised. Number 1 is the most turnkey option on the entire list, the branded turnkey rental provider. Think companies like Roofstock, Narada, and Rent to Retirement. Here's what it is in one sentence. You buy a house that's already renovated, already rented, and already has a property manager attached to it. You're basically buying a finished little business, not a fixer-upper project. On the difficulty scale, this is a 1 out of 10, the lowest bar on the whole list. So here's where you start. You browse a provider's inventory and pick a market that cash flows. Then you buy a home somebody else already fixed and filled with a paying tenant. And honestly, day 1 feels a lot like online shopping. You're not driving strange neighborhoods at midnight, you're just reading a package. Rent to Retirement even says some of its select new build deals can be bought with as little as 5% down. That keeps your first dollar low. Your starting cash is usually the down payment, closing costs, and a small repair reserve. The timeline to actually owning is often 6 to 10 weeks. But here's the one number that matters most. Turnkey homes usually carry a markup, often 10 to 20% over a comparable local house. That premium quietly covers the renovation, the tenant placement, and the convenience, all baked right into the price. So what's Dan's take? He genuinely likes it. It's the closest thing to true passive income you can buy off a menu. But he's going to make you remember that markup, because it's the very first piece of drag we're going to test. Number 2 steps it up just a notch. The online rental marketplace. This is buying a tenant-in-place, single-family rental, remotely, through a platform. Roofstock says it helps investors buy, manage, and sell rentals across more than 50 markets, all from a listing package and a remote closing. On the difficulty scale, this one is a 2 out of 10. So here's what day 1 actually looks like. You read the listing and you verify the lease and the tenant's payment history. Then you order an inspection and close, without ever flying out to walk the place. You want lease documents, a payment record, and a real inspection before you ever send money. The key fact here is simple but huge. You're not just buying a house, you're inheriting a tenant. That's a beautiful gift when the tenant is excellent, and a real headache when they're not. Let's put numbers on it. Picture a remote rental listed at $220,000, with a tenant already paying $2,000 a month. At 8%, management runs $160 a month, and that's before a single repair, before vacancy, before taxes and insurance. Now here's the honest warning. If your loan wants 25% down, That's a $55,000 check plus closing costs. That can stretch right past Dan's budget, unless he hunts down a cheaper house or changes the leverage. So what's Dan's reaction? Convenient, but verify that tenant, like your whole investment depends on it. Because it absolutely does. He'd pull the rent record, the lease, and the late payment history before he ever got attached to the house. Roofstock built its whole platform around this exact remote buying process. That's why so many out-of-state investors use it to buy in markets they will never physically visit. Number 3 is where this gets serious, and it's our first deep one. New construction at investor pricing. Here's what it is in plain English. Instead of buying somebody's worn-out rental, you buy a brand new house, straight from a builder, often through an investor channel with preferred pricing. Everything in it is new. The roof, the furnace, and the water heater. So who is it for? It's for the hands-off buyer who hates surprise repairs more than anything else on earth. On the difficulty scale, this is a 2 out of 10, and that's mostly the paperwork, not the strategy. You find it through builder investor programs and the same providers from Method 1. Rent to retirement, for instance, says select new build deals can start with only 5% down. Day 1 is a calm conversation with a builder's investor desk, not a stressful bidding war. So let's talk cost. Picture a new build at $300,000. At 5% down, your deposit is $15,000 before closing. Say it rents for $2,300 a month. Management at 8% is $184. But here's the quiet magic of buying new. The repair drag is genuinely low because almost nothing breaks in year 1, and a lot of what could break is still under warranty. The timeline is the trade-off, because a build can take 6 to 18 months to deliver. Now here's Dan's scenario, and this one is personal. Dan loves this method for a reason that has nothing to do with the rent. His older brother flipped a house back in 2007 and lost $43,000 on it. Hidden repairs piled up, the market turned, and Dan watched the whole thing happen up close, and he never forgot it. New construction is the exact opposite of that nightmare. Fewer surprises, fewer phone calls, and a whole lot more actual hands-off living. The real-world anchor is straightforward. New homes in the United States commonly come with warranty protection, which is a big part of why those early repair calls stay so quiet. And what about the one red flag? Watch the financing closely, because that attractive investor price often comes with the builder's own lender attached, and that can quietly cost you your rate shopping leverage. The fix here is simple. Get one outside loan quote before you sign anything, so you actually know what the builder's rate is really worth. Alright, before we get to number 4, I need to be straight with you about something important. The phrase hands-off gets absolutely abused in this space. Every provider, every platform, and every builder will swear up and down that their version is totally passive. It is not entirely, and pretending otherwise is exactly how people get hurt. I've watched buyers grab a beautiful turnkey house off a gorgeous spreadsheet, then get gutted. Gutted by a markup they never checked, a tenant who stopped paying, or a management fee stacked on a placement fee. And the mistake is almost always the same one. They buy the story instead of the numbers. So here's the fix, and it's the drag test again. Before you ever wire money, you subtract every single layer of drag: the markup, the management fee, the placement fee, and the vacancy. Whatever net is still standing after all of that. That's your real yield, not the shiny gross on the brochure. Now that you know how to catch the drag, Method 4 is the one that quietly breaks all the rules. Number 4 is the bet. It's the one I teased way back at the top. Room-by-room co-living, run through a platform like PadSplit. Here's what it is in plain English. Instead of renting one whole house to one household on one lease, you rent it out by the room. A platform then handles the member screening, the rent collection, and the fee processing for you. The house is yours, but the grind of chasing rent is theirs. On the difficulty scale, this is a 3 out of 10, the highest on our list. So this is the one you grow into rather than start with. So here's how you start. You buy a house that fits the model, you furnish it, and you list the rooms on the platform. Day 1 is part real estate and part hospitality. Now let's talk cost and fees, because this is exactly where the drag test earns its keep. PadSplit says its model is a 10-day booking fee plus an 8% service fee on the member payments it settles. So picture a single room renting at $800 a month. The 8% service fee is $64 on that one room. Now stack 4 rooms inside one house. That house might gross $3,200 a month, broken into rooms. A single boring lease on the same house might bring $2,200. That's $1,000 a month of extra gross on the exact same house. That is why people put up with the extra work. Now here's Dan's scenario. Dan takes a house priced under $200,000 and puts roughly $50,000 down. Then he lets the platform place several room tenants and collect from them. On paper, the gross blows a single lease right out of the water. Dan keeps a deal binder on his desk, printouts of every house he has ever studied, the winners and the ones he passed on. This is the kind of deal that earns its own tab. And here's the revelation, the part that flips this entire video. When Dan runs all 5 through the drag test, the co-living house carries more fee drag and more daily work than the simple turnkey. And yet it still throws off the strongest net yield per dollar he deployed. Let that land for a second. The hands-off path most people skip quietly out earns the one everybody defaults to. That's the entire point of the test. Now here's the honest red flag, and it's a real one, so listen close. Hands-off is not the same thing as low touch. Rooms turn over, furniture wears out, and house rules need someone to enforce them. And the biggest legal landmine is zoning. Some cities have unrelated occupancy rules. They can make a co-living setup non-compliant even when the math looks gorgeous. So what's the fix? Before you buy, you confirm the local occupancy rules in writing. Then, you let the platform carry the screening and collection load it was actually built to carry. Pad Split even says payouts can vary, because collections and member timing move month to month. So you underwrite it conservatively, and you let the spread make the decision for you, not the hype. Number 5 rounds out the list. Entry-level build to rent. Here's what it is in plain English. You buy a newly built rental home, often inside a developer's purpose-built rental neighborhood. Professional management runs the day-to-day from the moment you close. Think of it as new construction's bigger, more organized cousin. So who is it for? It's for the buyer who wants new build peace of mind, plus a real management team baked in from day one. On the difficulty scale, this is a 3 out of 10. You find it through build-to-rent providers and the same marketplaces. Roofstock, for example, says it supports both single-family rentals and build-to-rent portfolios across its markets. So let's run the cost. Picture an entry-level build-to-rent home at $280,000, bought with 5% down. That's a $14,000 down payment before closing. Say market rent is $2,100 a month. Management at 8% is $168, and that's before taxes, insurance, and any homeowner association dues. Now here's Dan's scenario. Dan loves the sheer simplicity of this one. It's a new house, new systems, and a manager who answers the phone so he never has to. It feels almost as hands-off as Method 1, with a newer asset sitting right underneath it. The real-world anchor is the trend itself. Build-to-rent has become one of the fastest-growing corners of the whole rental market. Investors keep flocking to it because they want low maintenance and steady management, not a fixer-upper grind. And what's the one red flag here? In a hot build-to-rent market, new and easy can quietly tip into overbuilt. If too many rental homes land in one area at once, the rent may not justify the price. Those move-in specials always fade away eventually. The fix is to check that the market rent stands on its own 2 feet today, without the builder's incentives propping it up. Now let me ground all of this for a second. None of these 5 are theories I cooked up in my head. Roofstock says it runs across more than 50 markets. Pad Split publishes its exact 10-day booking fee and 8% service fee. Rent to Retirement publishes its 5% down programs, and that 8 to 10% management number. That's the long-standing industry benchmark for long-term rentals, not some scare figure I invented. These are real platforms with real, checkable numbers. Your only job is to run those numbers through the drag test before you ever fall in love with a listing. So let's bring it all home. Those are 5 real ways to own a cash-flowing rental without ever managing it. Turnkey providers, online marketplaces, new construction at investor pricing, co-living through a platform, and entry-level build-to-rent. 5 different doors into real estate investing, and not one of them needs you to swing a hammer or chase a late rent check. So what's Dan's honest pick? It's number 4. Not because it's the easiest, because it clearly is not the easiest one here. He picks it for one honest reason. When he ran every option through the drag test, one clear winner stood up. The co-living house was the one whose net yield still stood tall, after every single manager and platform fee came out. The smartest hands-off dollar is rarely the easiest one. It's the one that survives the drag. Now picture this 5 years out. That same 50,000 or so, deployed into the method with the strongest surviving net, can keep working while you sleep. The rent pays down a little more of the loan each month. The house can build equity, and the cash flow, if you underwrote it honestly, can compound into a genuine step toward financial freedom, all while you never once fixed a toilet. I want to be crystal clear though. I would never promise you a number, because nobody can. The deals are real, the drag is real, and the homework is always yours. But the path forward is right there in front of you, and it's simpler than the gurus want you to believe. So here are your next steps. Pick the 2 methods that fit your budget. Run each one through the drag test on paper, then call a provider and ask for real numbers, not a brochure. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 are you trying first? Drop the number in the comments below. Whichever one gets requested the most, I'm doing a full breakdown next. I'll walk you through exactly how the co-living platform model works, from the very first room all the way to the very first payout. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. Go run the drag test. Then go out there and own something real, the smart hands-off way.